because I got a bunch of people coming around with so many opinions, and to the life of me, I don't get, half of them don't have tzitzit on, okay? And then they'll make up every kind of possible excuse. You know what it comes down to? If you're a man and you're going to put that on your clothing and walk around in public, you are absolutely petrified of the reaction you're going to get. That's the problem. Now, for good or for worse, and I want you to take this the right way, I'm probably aware of my tzitzit on me only a small part of the day because they're part of me. I know they're there when I need to know they're there, and I'll notice that they're moving around and out of place or whatever I need to do with them. But it's not like I'm very aware of it as I'm walking around, and I'm not really thinking about anybody else noticing. As a matter of fact, when people notice them, I forget that they would even notice. I was at a restaurant the other day with my wife, and the people sat down next to us. The guy looked over and said, "Shalom." And I looked at him. He says, "I noticed your tzitzit." I have to tell you something, men. Two things. Because, by the way, you know how I feel that the men need to be doing this, okay? Men, first of all, number one, almost nobody's going to say anything. They're not. They'll look. They're not going to say anything. I've had very, very, very few people say anything about the tzitzit. None of them ever said anything negative. One of them was when I started wearing them, you know, and I was in New York, and I was working as a realtor, and some of the people saw me, and they didn't see me with them at first. Now that they see me wearing them, and then they looked at me like, "Oh, I noticed you're wearing the tzitzit." I mean, that's all I got. No grief, no mocking, no anything. And if there were people that wanted to, they never said anything. That's number one. You're afraid of something that's probably not going to happen, at least not much. Number two, if it does happen, you learn something. I don't need to stay friends with that person. That's a person that's going to mock me for my efforts to observe and be submissive to my Creator. I don't need that person. So let it be an identifier. Stop being afraid to stand up. You know, to be set apart means being willing to be visibly and discernibly different. You wear your tzitzit, you're visibly and discernibly different. Look, I use this as a measuring stick. When I see anybody recommending a video to me of any teacher out there, the first thing I do is look for tzitzit. And you know what I don't find? Tzitzit on almost all of them. And some of them will say, "Oh, I wear mine inside." Look, I'm not going to argue whether or not you're allowed to wear them that way, because Scripture doesn't actually say. But if you're the teacher and you're trying to set an example, and people are going to guess and wonder and not know, you're not doing your job right. You can't do that if you're the teacher. You need to be able to see my tzitzit. Okay, and that's why the camera's not catching, but I'm bringing them up so you can see them. Okay, here they are. All right? They have to be on and visible. See, but you got to remember, this is that partiality thing. Look, you don't have the shield of belief. You know that shield isn't going to protect you very much if you're only partial to this, that, and the other thing, and you care less about the other items. You're going to have these big gaping holes in your armor. Not to mention, Abba's not going to protect you all that much when you're showing partiality. He says that. He does not like that. He is not for you showing partiality. So he's not impressed. You ready for this? Please receive this. He is not impressed with your zeal when it's only for one thing or two things. He wants you to have zeal for everything. He wants you to have passion for all that's his. And zeal, by the way, doesn't mean you have to get in anybody's face. He just wants you to do it. Okay? If I walked out of my house, which I can't imagine happening, and my tzitzit weren't on, I would go back as soon as I realized they were not on. Period. And I just can't even imagine that happening. It's part of how I get dressed in the morning. Okay? So it's not, at this point it's like impossible. But if it did, I would fix it immediately. It's part of my public display. Okay, I don't walk around naked. I wear clothing, right? I can't see perfectly without glasses, so I wear glasses at times. And I need to have my part of my armor. I need the tzitzit. I need that to be there to remind me, as Numbers 15 tells you, to keep the commandments. And by the way, if you wear them openly, you're doing it for others more than yourself. Because you can see mine easier than I can. I can see yours easier than you can. Because I have to kind of look and twist and look down to see mine. I can just be talking to you and see yours. You could be walking around the room and I can see yours. I mean, I can see everybody's tzitzit without any effort at all. With my peripheral vision, I can pick it up everywhere. I'd actually have to look down to see mine. So yours, don't be selfish. Yours are for other people, not just you. But you're looking at it selfishly. Well, I don't want to wear them. But I might need you to wear them. I might need to see your tzitzit. It may inspire me as I'm about to go sideways. It may remind me to keep the commandments.